You're back with The Nation. Honi Harawera's Mana Party has formally announced it will be standing a candidate in the upcoming Ikaroa-Rawhiti by-election. The seat has been left open by the death of Labour MP Parekura Horomia. Horomia had a two-thirds majority, much more than Mana or the Maori Party candidates who stood at the last election. So, which way will voters go this time? We sent Torben Akel into the heart of the Maori seat to find out what issues are shaping their big decision.
Check whānau doing a big with DJ T's right here on Nui FM 87.
Wainuiomata is a suburb out on a limb. Half an hour's drive from central Wellington and right at the bottom of the Ikaroa-Rawhiti electorate. It's also a community of contrasts, with flash new homes now cropping up on the hills above the state houses built after World War II. At last count, a quarter of the population identified as Maori, and in 2011, more than 700 of them voted on the Maori roll. Nearly two-thirds backed Parekura Horomia, a bit more than across the electorate and triple what the Maori Party's Ngā Raihānea got. Mana's Renata McClutchy, meanwhile, barely got a look-in.
What's up? What's down? What's all around Wainui? And of course,
local radio host T. Stevens says part of Horomia's appeal was his accessibility.
He was the information man. We could ring him straight away if you wanted to, and he would talk to you live and direct.
She says uppermost in local voters' minds come the by-election will be the rising cost of living.
We know right here in Wainui we have a different weather system altogether. We're in sort of a valley, so when it gets cold here, it gets really cold. I mean, it's so cold that the heaters and the oil pumps, the HRV systems, they cost too much. So when they're trying to stay healthy, they're trying to make you look after yourself. But how can you afford to?
The town's been hit hard by the economic downturn too. First, the Griffin's biscuit factory closed at the end of 2008, putting 230 people out of work. And just last September, the New World shut up shop, costing 44 more jobs. The Wainuiomata Community Centre's manager, Marcia Skinnan, says she and her staff are seeing the human cost of the downturn on a daily basis.
We see around 60 to 70 families arrive at the community centre each week. We provide support services. We have a food and veggie program that we run, so we distribute boxes of fruit and veggies and bread to families in our community. You can take a look around and see some of the shops are closing here, and it's just, it's had a huge impact.
The Nation also gauged the community's mood at the local league club, famous for producing international players in both rugby codes. Senior club organisers said the downturn's made itself known to them too.
A lot of our players can't afford to buy a pair of boots, they can't afford to pay their subs, and we've got good people in the club that have come up with initiatives and ways to help our families cope with that.
As soon as the recession hit, then we started having burglaries like every couple of months. So that just shows a sign of desperation, yeah.
As for the by-election, committee member Chris Tuhaka thinks voter apathy will be something the political parties have to overcome.
A big problem with communities like Wainui, people have strong attitudes about things, but they don't voice those opinions through voting in local elections and government elections. You know, even though people are moaning all the time about their rates going up, about taxes going up, about reduced education, all that sort of thing.
Mr. Itula says another challenge for the parties will be finding candidates with Parekura Horomia's charm.
He made you feel comfortable, and you almost felt like he was, you know, your uncle or relation. You know, that's how easy it was to get along with him and engage with him.
The next day, not long after Parekura Horomia was laid to rest in Tolaga Bay, the Wainuiomata Lions top team met the Te Araha Eels in Lower Hutt, with the Lions just beating the Eels 24-22. And if our straw poll of spectators is anything to go by, the by-election could be a close match too.
Being 100% Māori, I'll probably go with the Maori Party.
Labour. Maori Party.
The Maori Party.
Labour.
Maori Party.
A Maori Party.
Labour's.
Labour, brother.
A Maori party.
I vote Mana Party.
Labour.
Yeah, I'll get Labour as well.
2 days later, in 400 kilometres northeastern Gisborne, it's the start of term at Kaiti School, a Decile 1 primary where around 80% of the 200-odd pupils are Maori.
Thank you.
School principal Billie Jean Portaka Aiton says the issues that matter most to her pupils' parents are the basics, like jobs and health.
We have a high case in this area of rheumatic fever. Now Auckland has been given 20 million to overcome the health issues for rheumatic fever up there. We've been given a tiny amount of money to overcome that issue that we have with our tamariki. One of my students has rheumatic fever now this week. Yeah, and that's been picked up through the program that we have in place in this region. So only one issue, education, you know. We have 3 high schools on the other side of town. They all have to travel over there to go to high school. Why can't we have a secondary school over here?
At election time, Kaiti School becomes a polling station, and in 2011, more Māori roll votes were cast here than anywhere else in the country. Its poll results mirrored the rest of Gisborne, with some minor exceptions. While Parekura Horomia got 2/3 of the vote, a bit more than across the electorate, the Maori Party's candidate got less support, and Mana's came second by a handful of votes. Ms Portaka Aiton puts that result down to Horomia's high profile and his highly motivated supporters.
He ran a good campaign, he was visual. The Mana Party was coming in that election, and so I think his whānau, his people here in Ngāti Porou, wanted to make sure that he got in. And yeah, he is Ngāti Porou.
So if he enjoyed about 2/3 support in both Gisborne and Wainuiomata, but less across the electorate as a whole, where are the soft areas that the other parties might target in the by-election? Bearing in mind too that both of their 2011 candidates also have Ngāti Porou whakapapa. Returns from 2011 show that in urban areas like Flaxmere, Hastings and Masterton, Horomia's vote dropped to around 50%. The same was true for rural communities such as Nuhaka, an hour south of Gisborne, where he got half of the 117 votes cast at the local school. And both the Māori Party and Mana candidates did better than across the whole electorate. At Nuhaka's community marae, the nation spoke with some of its elders over hot drinks and home baking, just as Horomia once did. When it came to talk of the by-election and the policies that might win their vote, all agreed that reopening the train line between Gisborne and Napier, which used to stop in Nuhaka, would be a good start, as well as any improvements to housing both here and in nearby towns.
In Wairau, for instance, there are homes that need building. There are families there in need of homes.
Marae Chairman Graham Symes is confident Labour will retain the seat.
Bit of fighting within the Māori Party, so that's not too good.
Mr Symes says the important election issues for locals are the same across the region, stretching budgets to pay for rising bills and losing younger whānau members to Australia. And he believes the seabed and foreshore debate has been superseded by newer concerns about mining and water rights.
The government is approving these mining permits. We even had seismic testing here, but you know, we're all concerned about what's going to happen in the future for our environment, that is.
What about water?
Water rights, you mean? Yeah, that's an important issue. Yeah, we would like to have a bit of control of our own waterways.
Intertribal politics were brought to our attention too.
2006, a document was signed with Kahununu, making us joint iwi. Rongomaa Waihine has been asking since for attendance by Kahununu to address this matter.
And why isn't the Māori Party here for you in that regard? They're with the government now.
I'm still waiting for Peter Sharples. I'm still waiting. Hey, Peter Sharples was the chairman of Kahununu Runanga when it started.
Which is another factor that helps explain the Māori Party's extra support in these Ngāti Kahungunu areas. But any smart political parties should really be focused on the youth vote, especially looking ahead 10 years. Ikaroa-Rawhiti is a young electorate with a median age of 23 compared to 35 across New Zealand.
It's not what party or what they offer us, it's whether or not they're willing to make the effort for us.
It doesn't matter what party they come from, as long as the message that they're trying to get across touches us.
Gisborne youth workers Meredith and Jason Akahata-Brown say political parties need to recognise that.
I think if you get the right person who can relate and come down and talk to the kids and hang out with them without any pretense would be definitely a foot in the right direction. Yeah.
Greens brought out some great policies and certainly I felt very impressed that they were really interested in our young people. Mana hasn't really made a kind of a real strong stand here, so whether it will, well, we shall see, I guess.
She believes a vote-winning policy would be to change the region's name from Poverty Bay back to Tūranganui a Kiwa. Translated, it means the long waiting place of Kiwa, the chief who first arrived here. Ironic too, because this is a region that's been waiting a long time for the type of economic development other regions have enjoyed. Perhaps now, with the by-election looming and the inevitable promises of investment that will be made, at least part of that wait may soon be over.
Torben Akel reporting, and Tony Ing helped to research that story. It was edited by Hitendra Patel.